Thank you for being with us here on KMBH Television and 710 KURV Radio. Davis Rankin, Roxanne Garcia. We're here at the 2016 Brownsville Hurricane Awareness Fair, better said an emergency management fair, and it's being mounted by the City of Brownsville's Office of Emergency Management and the Brownsville Public Library. And here for 4 hours or so, they're going to have everything that you need to know about getting ready for a hurricane or any other emergency event. It's a great event. It's a great venue. And let's find out more. Speaking of hurricanes, let's talk to somebody who does this for a living. He follows them, talks about them, thinks about them. Barry Goldsmith is with the National Weather Service here in Brownsville. Barry is a hurricane, he knows about hurricanes over at the National Weather Service. How many? Are we going to get one this year? That's what everybody asks you, I bet you. Is it coming this year? Is it going to come this year, Mr. Goldsmith?
You know, I want to be honest. I'm telling a lot of people this since I've been doing this for a long time, but I hate the seasonal forecast.
Oh, do you really?
Because people take it as it would be.
Well, they hold you to it. If you predict 5 named hurricanes and there's 4 or there's 6, they're like, what did you do?
Well, what I was getting at was, people look at the forecast and they'll say, oh, it's a quiet year. You're forecasting 6 storms and 2 hurricanes and no majors, right? And they say, oh, that's nothing. Why should I care? And then some years we forecast, 18 storms and maybe 10 hurricanes, and they panic and they go crazy. And the reality is it only takes 1.
Yep. And I was about to say, doesn't it matter the size of the storm? You can have 4 storms, but it can be humongous compared to the 18 that are smaller.
Correct. That could happen too. A year like 2005, we had everything going on, but some years you actually have a bunch of small ones, and we call that the cyclone energy index, and it won't be all that bad. And some years you have only 10 storms, and they all could be big. You have a huge index. So there's so many more factors at play that people just look simple at the forecast numbers, and they don't prepare as if this is the year, and that's what we're here to do today. Prepare as if this is your year, that the next Beulah is coming to the valley.
Oh, man.
Speaking of being prepared, Barry, how can a family prepare? Because, we were talking to the mayor last hour. Usually this happens when you least expect it, and we think about happening somewhere else, Kansas, Houston, but never really the valley. At least I don't think that.
It's been 6 years since we've had an impact nearby, and that scares me, because our usual return on some kind of impact from a nearby landfall, either tropical storm force winds or heavy rainfall flooding or even some minor tidal flooding from the sea, is about every 3 years. So we're kind of doubled down, and it doesn't mean we're due. It just means that there may be some amnesia out there, since it's been 6 years since Alex and now 8 years since Dolly.
How does a hurricane start?
Well, it starts with a wave that will come, the big ones start with a wave off of Africa, or some kind of a wave in the atmosphere where you can get the spin to go. After all, we're a rotating body of planet Earth, and once you get off the equator, we have something called Coriolis force, which causes storms to spin like galaxies, like you'd see in space. So whether they're from non-tropical means or whether they're from tropical means, they start to get spinning. So you need to have multiple ingredients. You first of all need to have moisture in the atmosphere, because if it's dry upstairs, even if it's humid at the ground, it's all going to dry out and you're done with your chance of getting. By the time it gets
up there, it's going to be dry.
Right, so it's going to dry the seeds out. So you can't have that. You also need to have a low wind shear so that the storm can percolate up and create this exhaust fan that allows it to grow and get bigger and stronger. And you need warm water temperatures, because that's the fuel, that's the gasoline, especially deeper into the ocean.
What's the Gulf right now, or the Caribbean?
The Gulf, Caribbean, and Western Atlantic are all above average temperature-wise. And off the East Coast, it's the most. And that's why we're looking at something out there now that could actually be an early season something. However, the other enemy of hurricanes is wind shear. It's a huge enemy. It killed off everything in the Caribbean. It was literally like the dragon's lair throwing it to the lions. You can't go through there or else you're going to die. And that's what happened to Danny and Erica. And El Nino made that happen. That was a big reason where you can correlate directly with the El Nino production of wind shear moving from the extreme eastern Pacific in the near the equator area and all the way across into the Gulf and Caribbean. This year we expect that to be reduced. However, in May, it's very strong wind shear out there now. And we don't know how that will play out in the summertime. So there are all kinds of enemies that could be out there to knock down the potential for hurricanes as we get on. But with a La Nina coming in, the expectation is that wind shear will reduce and stay reduced, which takes away one enemy. And now you have to find moisture in the atmosphere, and you need a seed that may come from Africa or the Gulf or the Atlantic that has that little spin going that can then activate the moisture, the warm waters, and the low wind shear and produce a hurricane.
Now, let's just say something were to happen here in the valley, and those that aren't ready, what would be the first things or the 3 or 5 things you would tell families, hey, to get before you evacuate, you need these 3 things, these 5 things?
Okay, first thing is to get your evacuation plan. In other words, know who your family are here and elsewhere so that if you've got pets, if you've got children, can they take them? Can they house them for 1 week, 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks in the case of another Beulah? You need to find that out ASAP and revisit that plan and make sure you can activate it if the time comes. That's probably most important because we're close to the coast. Have a plan. The second is your, what I call your stay plan. In other words, if you're going to stay and ride it out, do you have enough food for 7 to 10 days? Do you have a generator? Give yourself an air conditioning unit in the window, a refrigerator to run to give you that time and get the gasoline for it or the other fuel for it to, again, last 7 to 10 days. And just build that supply slowly but surely. So those are the first 2 things. Obviously, you need to make sure all your records, your prescription drugs, all that kind of information is ready to go in a go kit in case you evacuate so you don't forget at the last minute. And any keepsakes that you have, heirlooms, expensive jewelry, things that are going back generations. Bring that and throw that in the safe too and make sure you take it with you if you're going to evacuate. So that's the first thing to do. And then as you're building those kits, start doing the building of your resilience of your home. Check the attic. Go up there and see how your roof looks. Do you have hurricane clips and straps? Do you have any loose trusses? Do you have any gaps where you can see out so that you need to seal? Do you have a gable end, which means you need to brace it down? I found a home once with a gable end and a fan in it, which means it was open to the outside. Well, if the wind hits that gable end, it's going to lift that roof off. If the wind goes into the house, it could go anywhere it wants. It's got to come out another side. So you need to seal all those areas up. How's your protection for your windows? Do you have shutters? Do you have plywood? Is it thick enough? Is it 5/8 of an inch or is it 1/4 of an inch?
I think you've said enough now, Barry.
So
everyone's out there getting their list and writing everything down.
Well, I got a website for that.
What is it before we go?
Hurricanestrong.org.
There you go.
Hurricanestrong.org. Barry Goldsmith with the National Weather Service. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Davis. Thank you, Russell.
Just fresh from his welcome is the mayor of Brownsville, Tony Martinez. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We're good. It's been a busy day.
I'm a little overwhelmed by
the amount of people that are here.
Yeah, it's kind of.
But it's a good thing. It's a great thing to see people here again. It's open to the public. If you're driving,
it was buzzing
come
and
on
it wasn't
over
even
here.
Open yet, and it was still buzzing around.
And this place is beautiful, by the way.
Brownsville's buzzing.
Yes, it is.
How old is this library?
Library is back during the time that our late Mayor Blanca Vela was around.
It's got to have been refurbished. It's beautiful.
Yes, no, and it's very well used. It's one of our biggest prides of Brownsville. But not only that, I mean, you hate to see a building being built, money being spent, and it's not utilized.
Not being used.
But our libraries are definitely being utilized a lot. We have a great computer room over there. But every time that I come in here, I'm overawed at the amount of people. But as far as this hurricane awareness program, I've been doing it for 5 years, and it gets bigger and better every year.
Every year.
And the people, the enthusiasm, now we hope it translates into being prepared when the time comes. But Brownsville is doing. This is a great thing. This is a great thing.
I have to think that if human nature being what it is, people will put it off. But I have to think that this will incent some people to be better prepared earlier than they otherwise would have been.
Well, just the awareness, I think, is the operative word. Knowing that you do have to get ready. It's like I was just giving my remarks this morning, or this afternoon, is, you know, we do have the blessing sometimes of avoiding some of these things, but if you're a lifelong resident like you guys and I are, you know, we've been through a couple of these things, and you're watching like what's happening in Kansas yesterday in the tornadoes. You know, we don't want to leave something to happenstance.
You know, usually I've noticed that these things happen when you least expect it, because sometimes we have weather services saying, hey, this is coming, and
they
then
can jump up in a matter of
and like
almost hours.
When you least expect it.
No, you always have to be prepared, and the thing about it is you can't just kind of you know, hope for the best. You've got to be prepared, got to be ready. And so I'm very pleased. I love the outcome. I love all the things that are happening. It's been a busy day for Brownsville.
When did, I don't know how to ask the question except this way, when did emergency or hurricane preparation get so formalized?
I can't tell you an exact date, but I know that by the time I came on, it'd been on for about a decade, where you have the emergency management team.
Everybody knows what they're supposed to do and when and who's in charge. And
they do, and as a matter of fact, when I first became mayor in Brownsville, they're actually very quite prepared, because not only do you have the weather service here, you have a facility at the university, RGV, that is sort of hurricane proof on the top of one of the buildings that allows you to monitor and not get, they have all the emergency generators and things like that. The city likewise has their, right here in this building, has their emergency program. PUB's got a room just like this. There's like 3 war rooms that I can tell you makes it very good for me to understand what's going on.
In the event of a storm, at which point do you call for evacuation, or and how do you do that so that people don't just jam up on 77 going north?
Well, that's, you know, hopefully we'll have as good a system as we possibly can by virtue of the radio and television and, you know, any the computers that we have.
Our phones.
But it's always been an interesting concept, I reckon, because what happens is every so often their predecessors of mine, I know, have, you know, they've been jousting with the Cameron County, because what happens at the end of the day, when you do an evacuation and you have some monies that come back to the entities, they're all going like, well, I didn't call it, you didn't call it, you know, that kind of stuff. And because then if they decided you called it too early, then they won't give you any money, whether it's federal or state.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of cheesy.
It is a cheesy deal, but like I said, I think good, reasonable, prudent minds know exactly when that's called, and you need to reach out to all the governing bodies to make that correct decision.
Where does the mayor of Brownsville go for his command post?
Well, you know, in this instance, you know, you should be probably in the library where we sit today. But the truth of the matter is, you know, as we're going along, the Public Utilities Board, I think, offers an equally good position for a mayor or someone that requires some sort of decision-making to be at. But again, I'm very pleased, because I tell you what, the effort by the city staff and ODEE, the young lady that's in charge of management, she took over for Jeff Johnson, who's now an assistant in McAllen, and both of them did a super job. So it's really very comforting.
We seem to have been blessed by having the right people at the right places down here. You look at, I hate to go back to Katrina, but you look at that and go, God, they just, no organization at all.
Well, and their levee system was really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go, since we are talking about hurricanes, Mayor, quick question. Where were you during Hurricane Dolly? Do you remember?
I think I was here somewhere. I can't. Like I said, it's you know, I've been here through Carla. I've been here through Dolly.
They all blend together.
Yeah, they all do, and especially when you get to this age, you just hope you can remember what happened yesterday.
Well, we'll give you back to your minder then. Thank you very much, Tony. Tony Martinez. We appreciate it.
Leo Alignment, and I'm presenting safety tips of, now that hurricane season is on its way. If you ever see a dangling power line on the ground, don't ever assume it's not energized. Even if you're not seeing sparks on it, doesn't mean it's not energized. Let's say, for example, this is supposed to simulate a power line. You don't see any sparks, but once you touch it, you don't even have to touch it. Just have to be close to it in order for you to get shot. See, you don't even have to touch it. And let's say, for example, this is simulating a person. A person's touching it, and somebody else is going to take them out, try to help them. You're going to become conductive. See, and both of them you're going to get electrocuted. So it's very important to stay away from energized power lines that are dangling on the ground. If you see one or getting close to one, best suggestion is to call 911 or call your electric company provider, and they'll take care of it and stay away as far as you can.
She's the emergency management chief, and she joins us on 710 KURV. ODEE, this is awesome. What is going on in front of us is awesome. I know you can hear the noise in the background. I love seeing the family, the parents, the kids. I mean, people are involved, and they're learning as to why this is so important. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you for being here.
How did this happen?
Actually, we do this on an annual basis for the past about 10 years. Mm-hmm. I have been organizing the Hurricane Awareness Fair for the city of Brownsville. And we try to do it a week before hurricane season, which kicks off June 1st. Yeah. It's just the perfect time to get all our residents prepared and all really hustled and bustled about making sure their disaster repair kit is ready. They have their sandbags. We try to educate them also on how to preserve their sandbags so they can go out and preserve them, and they don't have to be going out and getting long lines to pick up sandbags.
Well, my sandbags disintegrated.
Do you empty out the sand?
No, of course not.
Well, you know, there's steps that us as residents must have to take to be able to preserve our sandbags. You know, if we leave the sand inside the sandbag, of course it's going to deteriorate. But if we don't, we empty out the sand into, let's just say, a bucket or something, let the sandbag dry out, and we leave that bucket with sand. And when it's need time to use them, we fill up our sandbags real quick. We have them there at home, nothing to worry about. Ready to go.
That's
so you're saying that we should have sand at our house just in case, or during the season instead of waiting in line?
Not during the season. You pick up your sand. This is what we recommend. You know, you go out and you pick up your sandbags. The city gives them to you free right before a disaster or anything like that.
We can't just go to the beach and go get sand.
You're not supposed to do that. But they sell sand at Home Depot or Lowe's, you know.
You can do it till they catch you.
Kids, let's get in the van. We're going to go to South Padre Island. Let's make a trip out of this, and then we'll fill up our bags. I'm only joking, ODEE. I'm kidding.
So the sandbags that you pick up, let's just say this year, you can use them for the next 3 or 4 years if you know how to preserve them. You just have to empty them out before, and, you know, keep the sand out of the sandbag until you're ready to use it again.
That's smart.
Is there anything in particular that people just fail to do or forget to do? One thing that overrides everything else?
Well, a disaster repair kit is something that takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
No matter which way we see it. So for the city of Brownsville, what we do is we have a calendar that we give out whenever we do our presentations. And we start off with, as soon as hurricane season ends, for next year per se, you start buying a little at a time. And you start building your disaster repair kit. So by the time June 1st comes around, your disaster repair kit is done. You're not stressing, I don't have money to get this, I don't have money to get that at the time of need. And you're ready to go.
So you should start planning a year in advance.
Yes, a year in advance. And besides that, something I strive with my family is come June 1st, half a tank is empty for you. I don't care if it's half a tank. You see an E there because I make you see an E. I only have one daughter.
On our vehicles. What about having a gas just around? Obviously, I'm talking about,
No. You're
no.
That's the worst thing. Half a tank of gas is your empty. As soon as you're half a tank of gas, you see the marker half a tank, you're an empty. You get yourself to the gas station, you fill it up. The time of need comes, you at least have half a tank of gas to get somewhere, if not a full tank.
My wife did the hurricane kit with the water and canned goods, and I forget what else. I have to admit, I mean, I didn't do it, she did it, but it was nice knowing because then she has to go to work, then I have to go to work. We didn't have to worry about it. It was done already. But it is an expense. And
Yes,
then,
it is.
like, things will go, batteries, you can't count on them being good year after year.
So that's why you have your hurricane calendar that you go by. And as you're buying new stuff for the following year that expires, you take that out and you use it. Hurricane season is over. You can start using it a little bit at a time. But the way you use, you replace.
Yeah.
And you're always prepared, ready to go.
I wonder how many families actually think about this.
Not many.
And I think that needs to change, because just like we were saying before,
Pound the nail all as much as you can.
that's true. It's
pound
up to
it,
the
pound
family.
it.
It's up to the family. But it only takes one disaster for that light bulb to turn on and then to start. So instead of it being that way, you can prepare before that ever happens.
You know, I don't want to be contrary, but the chance of disaster, yes, but really the chances are greater of just some great dislocation. No air conditioning, no water because the water's off. You didn't do the sand thing right, so now the water's creeping up your back door. You don't have good food to eat because you forgot to buy. So the chances of us being killed like in other places is probably not that high, although Brownsville's low. But it does make things as nice as can be.
Besides that, we try to open our residents' eyes and tell them it's not how big the storm is, because right away, what category is that hurricane coming?
Yeah.
The category has
Category
nothing to do
1
with
right over your house, lady.
What has to do with it is just one storm. That's all we need.
Yeah.
It no matter how big it is, it's just that one storm that can be devastating to the whole city, because a category 1 can still bring a great amount of water.
Yeah.
Not maybe high winds, but a great amount of water, and flooding is unfortunately one of the big things in Brownsville. So we need to stop focusing on how big is the storm. It's when are we going to get the storm that we need to be ready for.
You know, I'm speaking out of experiences, and I've thought about this, and I wonder why our mentality, and I'm not the only one I know who thinks this way, like, it's no big deal. It's just a little bit of rain, or it'll go by. Why? I'm thinking, why do I think that way sometimes? Because I do. Like yesterday, I was driving, and then of course it started pouring down a little harder, and then of course I was thinking, well, usually the past few weeks it goes and it comes, but then again, it just takes that one time for it to not go away and it to stay over us and it to completely just flood the streets, flood our house. But I wonder what needs to go through our process or through our mind to just start thinking about being prepared.
Another thing
That's
we
just
also
me.
have to keep in mind is that they see a street flooded, and we try to inform.
Don't drive into it.
Yeah, turn around, don't drown, and our residents just don't listen to us sometimes and think it's just a little bit of water and I can get through, and then by the time they know it, they're stalled in the middle of the road.
That's happened in front of my house when I've had 2 cars, and our house gets pretty bad right when we live in McAllen. I mean, midway to the mailbox and even creeping up to our door, and we've had people that just think they can cross in a small car like a Cobalt Chevy and then just drive in front of our house, and what do you know, they're stuck right in front of our house, and before they're coming, we're like, don't do it. But they still do.
Thank you for doing it. Thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you for being here, guys, and we look forward to seeing you next year again, I hope.
Yes,
We'll
ma'am.
put it on the calendar.
Awesome.
Speaking of calendar, Smooth Davis. Thank you so much, ODEE. I
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
it.
You have yourself a great evening.
You too.
BUSTOS is with the company that's made this possible for us, KURV Business Solutions, and we were talking off air. They do hurricane preparedness stuff as well, or emergency preparedness, because you got to be thinking about that at the office. What do you do?
Well, what do you know?
If you lose
Exactly,
the power or you get water in. No backup. That's the one that I was thinking about.
Exactly.
We were talking earlier, I mean, the theme is emergency preparedness, being ready, and Oscar says he went into a doctor's office one time and they didn't have their surge protector plugged in, which of course means it won't work.
Exactly. They thought it was plugged in, but I showed them it's not even plugged in. I go, what happens when the lights go off? We hear a beeping noise. I'm like, well, that means your backup is not working. It's going to die. So we're trying to.
Well, that is why KURV Business Solutions is there for us.
Exactly.
So backing up your data, I think physicians and lawyers in particular would need to worry about that, because they got legal problems, I think, if they don't back up, if they don't have retain ownership of gear, making sure it's stored off-site in addition to being stored on-site if you want to do that, but somewhere where it won't burn up or won't flood, you have less of a chance. Surge protectors for all because we're increasingly going toward electronic stuff or digital
Yes.
stuff, whatever you want to call it.
And you mentioned medical and medical and lawyers, all as well. You know, all our equipment is HEPA certified, which is very important for these organizations that you just
HEPA
mentioned.
certified?
Yeah, it's something that has to do with the government. All their backups, all their information has to be compliant.
Yes.
Yes, the HEPA compliance, you know, and that comes into play also when it comes to document management as well. It needs to be secure.
No kidding.
Yes, sir.
Oscar, are you and your family hurricane ready?
Of course we are. We live in South Texas.
They're going to go to the
Good. That's
Core
the
Business
mentality we
Solutions.
all should have.
They're going to the Core Business Solutions main office because it's a bunker, and they're going to.
That's right.
Bunker
We got
there.
everything there. We got backups for backups and all kinds of great products.
Can you back up my cable? Can you back up my satellite?
No, we
Can you protect my satellite and cable?
Why would you want to protect? You're so funny, David.
No. So when the lights go out, I still got cable TV.
Because that's what matters, right?
Exactly.
Watching cable TV when a hurricane is coming over
you have
your
to have
house.
You have to have a generator. You have to have a generator going for that kind of stuff.
Hey, but it's true. I'm sure people have thought about that. Davis is like, if I think it, it's probably been thought of
Absolutely.
before.
How will I stream Netflix if the lights go off?
Well, how will we live without Wi-Fi? Oh no, the humanity.
On your personal device.
Oscar,
Thank you so much, Oscar.
Oscar Bustos is with Core Business Solutions. You can find them at cbs-tx.com, cbs-tx.com. You can find us at KURV.com or 710 KURV on your radio dial. Thank you for being with us here on the drive home. This has helped you get prepared or start thinking about preparedness for this 2016 hurricane season and, you know, the possibility of other emergency events. You'll be able to take now the proper precautions and get ready. Thank you for being with us here on KMBH Television and 710 KURV.